Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Monster Fridays. Killian's with me, Coriander's with me, and we are talking about a 1975 hidden gem, Race with the Devil,
Yeah.
starring Peter Fonda and Warren Oates. Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock on this. What about you guys?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is going to be exciting, man. And first of all, just to say, all credit goes to Coriander for pulling out this gem of a movie that if I ever had seen it, I don't remember it or even remember hearing about it, but she pulled this one up and said, "Let's watch it." And holy crap, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
so glad. Yeah.
just
Yay.
want to say thank you. That's really cool. Let's see who we have in the chat. Um, Dan is in the chat and he says, "Hello again. I just rewatched this today." All
Nice.
right,
Nice.
nice, nice. Patrick's in the chat too. Always spooks me. Talking about boy. Frank, Frank from the Harsh Truth is in the chat. The Batman review is great. I'll be in and out of the stream because I'm at work, but I'll leave it on.
Ah.
All right, all right. Neil's in the chat. Happy Friday. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey.
Patrick saying this is one of the best. All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So let's get this thing going, man. This is a really cool movie. Coriander, let me just start with you
Yeah.
because this is obviously a movie that you've really enjoyed for a while.
Yeah.
Tell,
I'm a Peter
tell, tell
Fonda fan. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so tell me what draws you into this movie. What are the things about this movie without getting into a whole bunch of the story yet, but what are some of the things about this movie that draws you in?
I enjoy the storyline. I mean, there's a pretty good chase scene.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
it's a fun movie.
it
You
really
get
is.
you feel for these people.
You do.
And yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy
It
how
is.
this thing is bigger than you realize. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and you're right. You feel so bad for these folks because they're really cool people, and it
Going on
starts.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it just starts off, and you've got Roger and Frank, and it all starts off with them because they're friends and they want to go on
Yep.
vacation with their wives. They own a successful motorcycle dealership in San Antonio, and then once they start going on their vacation with the wives, things just start to go down a rabbit hole. But I think the strength of this movie is the fact that you like the interactions, especially between Roger and Frank, played by Warren Oates and Peter Fonda, but also
Hmm.
with their wives, Alice, played by Loretta Swit from MASH fame, and also
Yeah.
Kelly, played by Laura Parker. Kill, what were you thinking as this movie is starting off?
Man, you know what I was thinking? I want to go hang out with this couple.
Right,
I
right,
want to be
right,
in the RV. I want to like go on the road trip with them, and they all seem to have great chemistry, and
right.
they all seem like really likable characters, and that,
Mm-hmm.
of course, is what it pulls me in, and it makes me
Mm-hmm.
fear for what they're about to go through because they are so
Yes.
likable.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's just normal, everyday stuff. And I think that's the strength of this movie is because when I first watched it, I didn't know exactly what to expect. And I like going into a movie blind like that. But you got these funny little scenes like this scene when they just start going, and Frank, played by Warren Oates, he finds the dog Ginger in the back of the RV, and Peter Fonda's just kind of looking at him like, well, they Alice said you'd be okay with it, and just
Yeah.
little cute moments like that. And as they're on their adventure, and you're just following them, right? And then, of course, Coriander, stuff goes down. They have their little motorcycle race with each other, which that was fun
Yeah.
too. A cute little moment.
Right?
And like you said, kill Peter Fonda and motorcycles, right? That's
Right.
always
Yeah.
that's always a kick-ass thing. But
Hmm.
Coriander, we get to that scene where they have to take a detour. Now, well, when they choose to take a detour, I should say. What were you thinking at that point in the story? Because this is basically what kind of creates their fate in this movie.
Yeah. They should have just went those 88 miles to like the next that whatever that stop for RVs, because
Right?
yeah, the place they chose was definitely the wrong one.
Right, right. And they're just hanging out and they're doing what any of us would do in this situation, having a drink, you're hanging out with your pals
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, you see a fire being lit. And what are you gonna do, Kill? You're gonna wonder what the hell's going on, right?
No, you're not. You can wonder, and me and Coriander, we're gonna get in the vehicle, turn the lights off, and we're out. Look,
Right.
I mean, of course, curiosity, but curiosity killed the cat. And
Right.
I'm sorry if I see grown adults, in a circle, I see fire, I see masks.
Right.
I think, if they're wearing masks, then maybe I shouldn't be witnessing this and I
Right.
need to
They're
get out
hiding
of
their
Dodge.
identity, then I don't want them to know my identity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I'm
know
gonna
the
get back.
superhero code, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get back in my state of the art, for that time RV and turn the lights off and get low.
Right, right, absolutely. Dan saying they were very good. So cool to see Loretta Swit in this. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Rare good guy role for Warren Oates. He was so
He
likable.
was
He was so
he was
likable
really
in
good in
this.
this. Yeah.
Yes, he was really, really good. But Coriander, once they get to the part where obviously this is a ritual, this is bad news, and
Yeah.
they see someone getting killed. Uh,
Yep.
what when you first saw this for these characters, what were you thinking? Were you like, "Uh-oh, that's bad news"?
Definitely. And when he's running back to get the binoculars, he should have
Yes.
told his ladies, girls, be quiet, there's shit going down, but
Hmm.
he didn't. And that's what totally screwed him, man.
Right, right, because they were
Yeah.
overheard. Yeah, the
Yeah, they
cult
were.
overheard them.
Because
Man,
she turned the lights on, right? And the
right.
dog
But
starts barking
but I
and
will say this.
yeah.
I will say this though, even though I've seen it now more than once, it's believable in the sense because these guys, they were half drunk, right? They were
Yeah.
trying to
Yep.
Thinking it
relax.
was an orgy.
Right, right, right. So you
Yeah.
you know how it is. They're just two guys palling around. They're like, "Hey, let me see what's going on," and they think they're just. What did Warren Oates say, Frank? He said they're doing the ring around the rosy or whatever, and so they have no clue. When he went to get the
Yeah.
binoculars, nothing bad was happening yet. So it was all believable to me, anyways. Now,
Yeah.
granted, like you said, yes, people should have been more quiet, but it is what it is. But once the cult sees them and
Yeah,
again,
man.
this is the most important thing I want to get across in this discussion of this movie. These characters, Roger and Frank, and the wives as well, I think they were smart characters. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like they really were smart. They were like, "Hey, let's get the hell out of Dodge." They didn't play around,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
and they figured, "Hey, let's keep on driving, keep on going, don't stop, until they needed to." And I
Right.
thought everything they did was so smart, and that made the horror even worse, even worse
Mm.
because it's like they're doing everything I think I would have done, and even later on down the line when they get the ammunition and stuff, I'm like, wow, these guys, they're really trying their best to do the right things. Kill in
Yeah.
that scene when they jump in the RV and they're like, let's go, let's go. I mean, tell me, man, was your blood pumping too? Because I was like, man, go get out of here. Because the cult people are running after them like
Yeah,
the
they
freaking
were.
Yeah.
running man.
Yeah. Well, not only are they running, they also know the terrain, and
Yes.
Yeah.
the RV is not built for speed. you know,
Right? Yes.
and they're driving. For one, who was driving? Frank.
Frank. Yep.
Yeah, Frank is
Yep.
still a little tipsy and he's behind the
Yes.
wheel, and
Hmm.
everyone's yelling. They just witnessed a murder, so he's
Hmm.
he's he's going as best as he can. It's dark,
That's
and
right.
and of
Yeah.
course, in typical horror movie fashion, either the car doesn't start or the
Right.
RV tire gets stuck. So now it's
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, we got to figure this out. And
Hmm.
meanwhile, three of the cult members, they're just they're just hauling
They're
ass, and it's
hauling.
like,
Yeah, I'm like,
you know.
what?
So yeah, I'm watching
Yeah.
this. I'm eating popcorn. I'm like, come on, man,
Right?
get some sticks under the tire. Come on, they're coming.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
know? So yeah, it was a very tense scene. You know, very
Yeah.
tense. Yeah.
And they're trying to put stuff under the tire, and they're trying to coach. I think it was Alice that was that. Yeah, it was
Yep.
Alice that was in the driver's seat, and they're like, "Okay, cut it, stop,"
Yep.
and then they push on it. Oh
Forward.
yeah, go forward, and I'm like, "Come on, let's go!" And they eventually do get unstuck, and they get out of there. But a couple of them cult people, man, they were pulling some Mad Max
Yeah.
maneuvers because they're hanging on the back, they're busting in the windows and stuff. So it was
Yeah, they
really a
were.
tense scene. And it's so different than what we had seen up to that point. You get what I'm saying? So now all of a
Yeah.
sudden, these people that you grew to like and connect with, now they're in the shit, man. They're being attacked, and
Mhm.
they're not like superheroes. They're not like fighters or you know, army vets or whatever. They're just regular everyday people, two couples, and they
Yeah.
got to try to survive. Coriander, at that point, you know, they get away and they're driving. I mean, what were you thinking of the story at that point? Because to me, I would have had the same thoughts they had, is to just keep on driving, keep on driving. Of course, they see the note in the back of the window when they get to the sheriff. But what were you thinking about as the story is going at this point? You know, how bad are they in a situation?
Well, you think, where they got away, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
good. They're gonna, go to the cops and see what, do the right thing. Because,
Yep.
like you said, they were pretty smart and they were making pretty smart choices, but it's just these damn cultists, they're always one step ahead. And yeah,
Yes.
I mean, and you think once they get to the sheriff's office that, yeah, it's all going to be fine and dandy. And I
Right.
guess soon enough, you know, yeah. But
Well,
anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, that's down the line. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, they see the note and it's basically a
Yeah.
warning. It said something about, you know, keep silent, or the evil that you give will, you know, be twice fold onto you, and all this and
Yeah.
all that stuff. They meet the sheriff and he seems like he's going to be helpful. And at that point, when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, you know, they got the sheriff, they're far enough away from these cult people, because you know they've been driving for god knows how long. And of course the sheriff is like, well, let's see what you're talking about. So they're going in, what, it was like two cop cars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they go back to the site, and of course, you know, there's not much evidence. There is some blood. Kill, I mean, when you, because this is the first time you've seen this,
Well, they
right?
found a dead dog too.
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
right. But first, before they found the dead dog, all they saw was like some blood on the ground, and like the sheriff was
Yeah.
like, "Well, it could be, and we got to test it and so forth." Kill, when you were watching this, being the first time you saw it, how comfortable were you at this point? Because I'm sure you had no real idea what was going to be happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's that instant comfort of, oh, the police. Okay, you're with
Mm-hmm.
the sheriff. You're going back out there. Like, I don't know if I want to go back out there. And they did the smart thing. They were like, well, do our wives have to come? Because we don't even want to
Right,
go. Can they at
right,
least stay here? And they're like, yeah, okay, good. At least my wife will be safe. But
right.
they go back out there, and like you said, Knight, they find some blood, and then they do find a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very clever in the acting, because
Yes.
the sheriff mainly, and I recognize that actor,
Oh
and
yeah.
at first, he's really nice to them. But then when he gets there, he's kind of like, well, maybe what you saw was
The hippies.
they some hippies. They cut the dog and the blood fell on the girl. And this, and they're like, well, sheriff, it was dark and you boys were drinking a little hooch. Maybe that's what you saw. Like, maybe, and it's like, and especially like Peter Fonda, he does some things like with the head tilt in his eyes. He's like, sheriff, we're pretty sure we saw what we saw. And
Yes.
that drive back to the station was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes.
And I hope
Good
I'm not
point.
getting ahead of myself, but
No.
just the acting of, Roger and Frank, and they're looking at each other like, what's going
Mhm.
on here? Like,
Right.
because especially the sheriff, he's just like, yeah, well, maybe you didn't see what you thought you saw, and
Mhm.
this and that. And it's just, he's saying so many things without saying
Yes.
things.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's just very uncomfortable. And I mean, they're two guys from out of town in a cop car
Mhm.
with these guys with weapons, loaded weapons.
Right.
Whew.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
man.
Exactly. And real quick too, the guys in the chat, they were talking about I think it was Blucker that was asking, is this a must-watch movie? I definitely think it
Yes.
is. I think you
Yeah,
should
it's really
definitely
good.
check it out. It is
Yeah.
really, really good. And actually on the strength of having a fun time with this movie, we're going to be doing some other episodes on similar themed films, because this was such a fun film, not only to watch, but to have this discussion about. So anyways, it's a must watch. It really is. But Coriander, they've met with the sheriff. They're
Yeah.
okay. They
Mhm.
drive on, right? And they
Mhm.
figure, hey, we got to stop, and we're going to take a little swim and hang out and this and that. And again, you feel a little bit of safety. You feel some comfort, right?
Well, well, on this drive too, they're talking how, I did steal some of this blood. We're
That's
gonna go
right.
get it tested. And if
Hmm.
it comes back human and the sheriff tells us it's dog, then we know that this is shady shit.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, I would, I guess they can feel as comfortable as they can in the situation that they're in,
Yeah.
because
Well,
they don't
no good.
think that they're like still in terrible danger. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you figure you're driving and you're driving away from the
Yep.
danger. So you
Yep.
really, and it's funny because I think movies at that time, and especially movies where you're mobile like that, there was a sense of safety in the fact that you could get away. I mean, we talk about this in horror movies all the time where it's like, hey, don't stay where there's danger. So in this type of a
Yeah.
movie, they're in the RV, they're traveling miles and miles and miles and miles away from the danger. So of course,
Yeah.
they felt safe. But you have that scene where they're at the pool, and Kelly, she's the one that starts to kind of
Yeah.
notice and starts to feel kind of weird, and seeing people like looking at her.
Staring. Yeah, man.
Yes. Laura Parker
Hmm.
was so good in these scenes. I mean, Coriander, that scene at the pool, was that creepy or not? I mean, I was
Yeah, I
creeped out.
mean, there was, yeah, like a couple people you would be like, okay, because they kind of had a grin on their
Hmm.
face. But a
Right.
couple of looks she got from people, like, especially a couple men, it was like, damn, yeah,
Yeah.
it was creepy.
Yep. Absolutely. What did you think, Kill? I thought that scene
Man,
not only was shot well, but you really, and again, she did a fantastic job, even just without
Yeah.
saying any words, as far as giving you that sense that she felt danger.
when
Hmm.
when when I saw this scene, that's when I started to think, okay, maybe this is bigger than what we know, or what
Right.
we think. And I'm sitting there
Right.
waiting for someone to just point and yell, "Outlander!"
Right.
Just I'm like, I was freaked out. It was a lot of weird stuff going on at the pool of all places. The pool is
Right.
sacred.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
fun. It's good for families. It's good for
And
dogs. It's good for you.
And here's the other thing too, is that you're at a pool. It's a it's open to anyone. So how could you even imagine that danger would follow them to some place like that? Like, who would have bet that they would
Yeah.
have stopped to take a swim? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's a lot
Hmm.
of tension and horror elements that are happening without it being, like
In your
bombastic or
face.
right in your face. Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
yes, absolutely. And then of course you have that couple and we all know
Mm.
these types of people. They actually walk into the RV and
Yeah,
like,
they
hey, what's
Yeah,
did.
going
they
on,
did.
neighbor? I'm
No
over, I'm
thanks.
over
I'd be
here.
like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
man?
right.
No.
Exactly. First of all, my door would have been shut and locked. But anyways, it's the 70s. But at this point, but okay, again, this is the other thing I want to say. Frank and Roger, all of them, Kelly, Alice, they're all smart, because even when this couple is saying, hey, why don't you hang out with us or whatever, they're like, oh, well, we got something going on tonight, don't we, Roger? Yeah, we do. So I just want to put this out there for you people that are watching this episode. These were smart characters in a horror movie,
Yeah.
action thriller horror movie, and they were making great choices in general, because they weren't buying it with this other couple. Well, I don't think so much that they were thinking that they were dangerous, but they had a mission. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
Kill. They wanted to test this blood and get the hell out of Dodge. They just made a little pit stop. But they do accept the offer to go out and have some, food and drinks that night. Kill at this point, and Kelly again has those premonitions. What were you thinking in that scene?
Don't go. I mean,
Yeah.
even though they said, yeah, we're gonna go out and have dinner tonight. Oh, I know
Right.
the perfect place has great country music.
Yes.
This is where you got to go. Like, well, we don't like country music. How about that? They should have came with something. And also, if your wife is having this much intuition, listen to that. I
Yeah.
think this was the only misstep, in my opinion, that they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this couple,
Mhm.
like, I'm sorry, they've gone through too much to trust this. They seem very nice. It
Right.
seemed very nice, but
Yeah, they did.
I don't still don't want to trust anyone
Right,
right
right. Good
now.
point. Good point. Real quick too, Coriander, before I get to you, because of course we got to talk about what happens when they leave the bar and come back to
Mm.
the RV. I want to get to that in a second. But Blucka was asking, from the amount of horror movies you guys have been through, which decade has produced your favorite films? Now, before anyone answers that, I will reference our top 10 horror movies of each decade from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s. You might get that answer from that, but if you guys wanted to give a quick answer, what would you guys say is the decade that has your favorite films?
Dang.
Go for it,
That's
Coriander.
tough. Oh, me. Oh, man. I mean, come on. I just can't pick one. So I'm
It is
skipping,
hard.
man. I'm
Just kidding.
skipping.
All
Pass.
right. What about you, Kill?
Well, if I have to pick, I guess I would just say the 80s.
All right.
I mean,
All right.
and the reason for that is, other than like Halloween that came out still in the 70s, you had so
78. Yep.
many. Yes, you had so many other great franchises that I grew up at that time with, that scared the living crap out of me as a little
Hmm.
kid.
Hmm.
So the 80s, those horror movies hold
Yeah.
a warm spot in my heart.
I
Yeah. I
guess I'd have
mean,
to say the 80s too after you put it like that.
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
would
you do.
I would say that too. And Coriander, we're going through so many classics of the 80s on our slasher movie
Yeah.
club, which is Monday nights, guys. By the way, check that out on Monday nights at 8. We're really trying to do some cool stuff on that series, and it'd be great to have support for that. And we're watching a lot of movies that we had never watched or never even heard about. I mean, there was
Yeah.
dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of horror movies of that time period, that golden age, from 80
Hmm.
to 84, 80 to 85. And we're
Yeah.
discovering them right and left. So I agree. I think
Hmm.
the 80s would be my pick. But I love movies from the 70s. And that's why we're going to start doing some other ones from that decade soon, too. Neil saying he would say the 70s has more of his favorite films than any other decade. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So Coriander, they leave the bar and they head to the RV. And what do
Hmm.
they see? What do they see?
Yeah. Poor Muffin. I can't remember what the dog's name is,
Ginger.
but
Ginger.
Ginger. Ginger was hanging by the door. Yeah,
Mm,
and
hmm.
Kelly, was it Kelly? Yeah, she was
Yeah,
flipping the hell out.
rightly
And you had
so.
a whole bunch, yeah, and you had a whole bunch of, other onlookers coming on to see what the hell's going on. And
Yeah.
Peter's like, none of you saw anything. And,
Yeah. None of you son of
that other
bitches
dude
saw
was,
anything.
yeah, he's like, they took a crowbar to the door. And
Yes.
yeah, and it's crazy because in that scene, that dog, they drugged that dog. That was a real dog that they drugged for the scene. It wasn't her, but yeah,
Hmm.
it was a real dog.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very, very cool. Yeah, and that was such a sad scene too, because
it
she
was.
was she was distraught, man. I mean, she was
Yeah.
just
Well,
again, Laura Parker did a hell
yeah.
of a job in this role in
Yeah.
these scenes.
She did. She did. You got to remember too, a lot of people, you know, uh, think of their pets as their children.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, she was totally believable in her. despair, and even his when he was burying the dog and leaving its collar. It was it was a sad moment.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. But that wasn't even the end of it. So they get in the RV and they start to drive off and kill.
Yeah.
Guess what they find in the RV? Hello.
I'm sick and tired of these snakes on this MFing RV.
RV.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, man, people can say what they want, but I know if I found one of these things in my RV, I'd be freaking the fuck out, man.
Hell yeah.
Seriously.
Right?
Seriously, man. And Frank, he's trying to control the RV. He's driving all over the place because the ladies are freaking out. And Roger's trying to get the situation under control. I mean, it was a pretty messed up situation. And again, everything's ramping on top of each other. This is like dominoes, right? All these bad things are happening to these good people who are all also smart characters. So it's like, for me, I'm doubly invested in them because not only do they seem cool and they're good, but they're also smart. But even with smart decisions, bad things are happening to them. So
man.
Kill, my man Frank, he's like, look, man, we gotta get some weapons, man. Which is smart.
Yes,
right?
Yes,
That's smart, right?
Look. That was probably one of my favorite scenes. They're just like, you know what? Enough is enough.
Right?
and he's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? Need a shotgun. He's like, oh, I got you. Here you go. And look, and this shows you how invested I was in the scene. He bought a shotgun and bullets, and it cost him $277.
There you go.
And he's like, check this out, Roger. Yep, that's good, man. And I'm like, yes, now it's time to even the playing field.
Right.
Okay.
And it's like, look, man, you guys are doing the right stuff, getting your weapons. Patrick Slasher movie.
Especially after that move. Good God.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
My man, Fate's in the chat. You're the guy from the Lethal Collective. Big fan. The other guys suck. You're talking about Jake and my man Steven. Come on, man. But no, seriously though, they're making good decisions. And who do they see at the gas station, at the storefront? My man from First Blood, Telekill, Galt himself, my man.
You can't trust. Well, not him. You can't trust Galt, man.
Jack Start. Oh my God! When I saw him, I was like, "What?"
Look, it's that mustache, and I mean he's clearly much younger in this movie. But as soon as I heard the voice and I saw him, I was like, "Oh man, I don't trust you automatically, sir. You are such a good actor that no matter what movie I see you in, you're always Galt, and I always will not trust you. You could be the lead hero in the movie, and I'll still won't trust you, sir.
Right?
Okay,
I'm still gonna call you Galt. There's
you're
one other
still gonna be
actor.
Galt.
You know the other actor, we always call him the same thing. I'm talking about my man Mad Mickelson, who is Lashif. He will always be Lashif.
You will always be Lashif.
He will. Every time we talk about my man, I call him Lashif. But look at these guys, man. They're getting ready, Coriander. And I'm at this point, it's ramping up, into a lot of high octane stuff that's about to happen. And man, I absolutely loved it. Coriander, tell me what you thought of this scene, because now they're being under attack while they're driving.
Yeah, I mean, these guys aren't safe anywhere they go, and this was quite the chase scene, because I mean, when they're crashing and banging into them, and he's like got this gun in his hand and he's falling around, I'm surprised he didn't shoot someone, honestly.
Right?
Yeah, they were getting tumbled.
They were, man. It was some really cool stuff, man. I miss these types of movies, because in this scene, you're already invested in the characters, right? You already are experiencing the horror and the paranoia that was building. And now you're getting car chase scenes, car violence. It's like, please sign me up. This is amazing. I mean, and again, this is old school stuff, man. You gotta love it. I mean, that
scene the scene there where he gets on
Mhm.
top of the on top of the RV, and
Mhm.
there's that dude who was putting the gas in through the little window thing. And when they were
Yes.
going under that bridge, and Peter Fonda was
Yes.
like, "Hey," and he looked up. That scene looked so good when that guy
Yes.
hit the bridge and almost got hit. You could just,
Mhm.
yeah, that was
It
a
was
good
some
scene.
good stuff, man. Seriously, some really, really
Yeah.
good stuff. Dan was saying on the DVD extras, they talk about how Laura Parker learned to scream well from dark shadows.
Mm.
Nice. Very, very
Yeah.
cool. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. Um, he said Jack Stewart directed this Go Speed Racer Go, right? Nice. But this scene was really great. Kill, what did you think about this? Because I know you're a big fan of car chases and car stunts and
Yes.
everything.
Well, I had two quick things I wanted to say, and
Hmm.
it's very indicative of like maybe action movies of the '70s. The hero character, when they have to kill, it means they've been pushed to that level. And I love the
Yes.
Mhm.
sequence where one of them is coming in through the window. Peter
Hmm.
Fonda has a shotgun and he looks at his buddy, and his buddy just all he does is kind of shakes his head like, do it. It's like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the hero is now killing. And
Hmm.
that means we are at the point of no return. It's
Hmm.
either us or them. And as I'm
Right.
watching this car sequence and they're being boxed in, I'm waiting for Mel Gibson to come from the Hall of Justice because I'm like, they gonna need some help, man. And like you were just saying, I love, me and Coriander, we're all about the muscle cars, and we
Yeah.
love the chases and practical effects chases from the '70s. Car chases, I love it. Real
It
people,
is.
real wrecks,
Stuntmen
Yeah.
that'll never get the credit that they deserve,
stunt
you know?
men and
Yeah.
women getting not no credit but
That's
risking
right.
their lives. And this sequence, like this last bit of this movie, it felt like I was watching Mad Max or something. I mean,
Right?
it
Well,
was
I was
go
saying to
go.
Coriander, I said George Miller must have gotten some inspiration from movies like this, because I started getting those types of vibes, especially like stuff that he did later on in the Road Warrior and stuff like that. But this is all great stuff, man. It is
Oh yeah.
amazing stuff. But okay, so here's the thing, guys, and for you guys in the chat, I think most of you guys have seen this, so you know where we're going. If you have not seen this movie, if you're watching this now, if you're watching the replay, you might want to, kind of zone out, because we're getting into the finale of it, and it's a really good finale. Okay, so they survive, this car chase, and it was some great moments where they did a lot of cool stuff driving. So, but the vehicle is all effed up. The vehicle's
Yeah.
all messed
The
up.
fact that it was still running,
Right.
damn, that is a good brand of RV, whatever the hell it
Look at the front.
was.
Look at the front end of this thing,
Right?
man. This is
Yeah, man.
ridiculous. This
Yeah.
is so ridiculous. But here's the thing, man. And what about that truck that did the wheelie? That truck that did the wheelie. You see that? You see what
Yeah.
I'm talking
Right.
about, Kill? Okay, that was some cool shit.
Yep.
Anyways,
Oh
That was
yeah,
so
it
like Dukes
was.
of Hazzard shit.
yes, thank you. You Coriander, you all right. Okay, so look, here's the thing. They get away, right? The
Mhm.
front end is all messed up. Their headlights are busted, right? They're driving and they come up to this huge accident, this school bus
Yeah.
accident, and a couple of trucks and everything. Now, at this point, they're kind of creeping up. There's a little line of cars, maybe two or three cars in front of them. And you got multiple vehicles, city or town vehicles, town trucks, and this school bus. And Roger's like, "Well, what do you think of this, Frank?" And he's like, "I don't know." He said, "School on a Sunday?" He's like, I don't think I'm buying this." And he guns it and goes right through the blockade. And I'm like,
Yep.
these guys are smart. These guys are so smart.
Well, it could have
And
been Sunday school too, you know.
I'm
I'm
giving
just
you the look.
saying.
No, look,
I know you are.
and night, you didn't put the emphasis in it that Roger did. He's like, school on Sunday, bullshit.
Right. Exactly. But
And
here's
as
the
soon
thing.
as go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as soon as he drives through, you see them true colors, because a couple of
Yep.
them
Yeah.
jumped on to the door and this and that. And I'm like, yep, it was a scam. It
Yeah.
was
Oh
all a
yeah.
ploy. And you start to
And think about
realize,
it. It's
go
like,
ahead.
how many miles away were they?
Right? That's the
Right?
thing that
Like
was scary.
probably hundreds. So
Yes. Yes.
And the kids were even in on it.
Yeah, it was
The
kids.
kids,
evil,
the school kids were even in on it.
Yes.
Malachi, all of them.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
right?
Anyways, so they're driving, they escape all that, and then they realize, hey man, it's getting dark. We're out in the middle of nowhere. I think they still
Jesus.
had like 80. I think they still had
Can-
80 miles. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can I just say, you'd think they'd learn from the fucking first time when they pulled off the road not to do it again. I'm just saying.
But they couldn't
Well,
see the
They couldn't
headlights.
see.
They couldn't
I
see.
get it, but
You can't
tough
drive in the
shit,
dark with no
man.
headlights.
Get a
can't.
flashlight. Shine a flashlight out there. It'll illuminate a little. Go slow. Exactly.
Okay.
Go slow,
So,
man.
Coriander has lost her mind, but that's okay. That's okay. But no, for
Better
real
than the
though.
alternative.
But for real, no, but seriously, and we're getting to the finale of this movie, guys. So here's the big thing. But seriously, I like the way they addressed that, because they're like, hey, we don't have headlights. It's almost dark. We got to pull over somewhere and chill. It makes sense. Like, so these characters are still very smart. They pull over. And of course, like you said, they're so many miles away from the quote unquote danger. What do? Roger and Frank's like, okay, well,
Drink.
let's have a quick drink, man, because we've been through a lot,
Martinis.
which they have. They have been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I can understand them wanting to have a drink, right? All of a sudden, man, you start hearing some Kill, when you start hearing that,
Right.
Nope.
and I'm
Nope.
like, wait a
Start it back
minute.
up.
What? Hey,
Right?
look, it's like, what? And you see that fire being lit, like, whatever it is, 50 feet away, 40
The
feet away,
tree.
and you start hearing the chanting, and
Yeah.
look, man.
Now,
This
how did
isn't
they
the
know?
hard
How did they know that RV would stop right there?
Well, I think what they were doing is following them.
Oh,
They were following them, because here's the thing, and of course we're getting to the big stinger of this, guys. But here's the thing, based upon the fact that they had the decoy accident and so forth, and then they started chasing them when Frank gunned it through. They obviously pre-planned. They knew the route, right? And they
Yeah.
also knew, this is another thing I want to bring up too. They also knew that the front end was busted. They didn't have any headlights. So that big car chase, they were basically either trying to kill them right there or totally disable their vehicle as much as possible. So they knew that these people couldn't keep driving forever, which they couldn't. So they hear the chanting and the singing, and they're like, oh shit. And here it is,
Terror
guys.
begins.
Let me put up the image. This is it right here. A ring of fire around the RV with the cultists all around the RV. It's got to be at least 50 of them, including the couple that invited them out to dance, and your boy Sheriff Taylor.
Pretty much everybody they met. Pretty much every. I mean, I didn't see the gun salesman, but pretty much everyone else, they're there.
The whole, and then, but that's the thing, man. I started thinking to myself, holy shit, man, this is like a couple of towns worth of dozens
like
and dozens
counties.
of people, right? I'm like, wow. Well, obviously, because if Sheriff Taylor was a part of it, then obviously that's the law and everything involved with the law. And, and it's like, this is crazy, man. So that's how it ended. And then it cuts off right there. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Kill, when you saw this, because this is the first time you saw it, what'd you think, man? I mean, what a gut punch. What a gut punch.
I love movies like this that either keep you guessing or there's a grim ending to it, because the hero is not always going to win. The good guys don't always live. But I'd like to think that, hey, maybe, when that circle of fire started, they gunned it out of there and they lived happily ever after and got another dog.
Maybe.
And
I don't know about
Margaritaville and sunshine for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
They wanted to go skiing, damn it.
I know, man. That's all they wanted to do is have the best vacation they've ever had in their lives. And
damn Satanists.
That way. Right? Like,
It's the
wow,
thing.
man. And
Stick to the road. Always stick to the damn road.
beware the Moors.
Right.
I just can't believe it, man. When I first saw this, it was such a gut punch, but I felt so bad, for these two couples because I liked them so much. I really,
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have any final words, I'll get to you in a second. But all I got to say is this is such a good movie. This is a movie that, if you didn't know of it, it might have totally gone under your radar. It's one of those, to me, it's like a hidden gem. And especially for us in our generation and younger, this is a movie that it needs to be seen, man. So I'm hoping that this video will help have people rediscover it or have people discover it for the first time. Coriander, and any final thoughts on this? Because and we will talk about what this movie is hopefully going to have us do soon on the channel. But any final thoughts on this movie?
To me, this is when I really enjoy it, is when I get to introduce the movie to both of you guys and you both love it. I mean, that right there just makes me so happy. So,
Good
yeah,
point.
this is a really good movie. And like I said, I'm just glad you both enjoyed it. So, yeah.
Very good point. How about you, Kill?
Hey, my hat's off to you, Coriander, for this one. I've always trusted your taste in the classics. So, guys, seriously, if you enjoyed this, please let us know in the comments. Once again, Coriander is never wrong. She's never wrong with these, and I have a list of stuff that we talked about on the old channel and like gone through like certain recommendations, and this was a joy. And
It was.
I love vehicular movies with cars, motorcycles, especially if it's old school real drivers, practical effects, and you add on top of it the horror, they're being chased, and Satanists. Oh man, come on.
Sign me up.
Guys, they did hire real Satanists too for that cult, just saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Ooh. And guys, let me just check these guys out too. Dan was saying I couldn't tell if the librarian was one of them. It's a good point. That's a good point.
Probably was.
I'm assuming
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there an overall message, or was it just stay on the main road? Yeah, I think it was just stay. It was just stay on the main road.
Stay the course. Yes.
Yeah.
But not only that though. Hey, what's up, DMC? But not only that, but I think it was just showing that even a smart person or these smart people who make good choices could still victims. That's a scary thing, because a lot of times when you think of a horror movie or a movie where there's victims, we as the viewer will sit back and say, oh, but you made a stupid choice, or you did a stupid thing, or you're not very smart. These guys were smart, because even when they first got away from the Satan, the cult people, Roger and Frank, they were outside of the RV checking the tires, checking just to see if anything was messed up or whatever, and they were doing all the smart things, man. That's what was really the horror of this. They were very good people and they were smart, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter, because who would think that you could go hundreds of miles and have a conspiracy that big and that widespread, right? So again, guys, you guys got to check this out. We have done some movies kind of in this vein. We did do our Mad Max movie and Road Warrior. And for you guys that had not seen that, I know a lot of people hadn't, because that's when we kind of had restarted this channel, and like maybe 3 people watched the video. Check those videos out, guys, because we had some fun doing it. And movies that have these real life practical car stunts and car chases, they're so cool. And because of that, we are going to plan to do some more movies that are of this ilk, those movies from the mid to late 70s throughout the 80s, mid 80s, movies like The Car,
a little more Peter Fonda,
some more Peter Fonda. And this funny thing that I didn't know is that this movie was one of 3 that Peter Fonda did with Warren Oates. This was the second of 3 films that they did together. They did The Hired Hand, and they also did I think it's 92 in the Shade. So I love their chemistry together. It was really, really
Yeah.
good. So again, guys, I guess the bottom line for this episode, at least from me, is there's so many cool movies out there, guys. If you're a movie fan like we are, God, this is what it's all about, man. Seeing movies that you've never heard of and you like them and you want to talk about them with people. This is why I
Mhm.
love talking about movies. This is why I love doing YouTube, man. It's like it's so cool and we're really happy to be able to not only share it with each other because again, Coriander got us onto this thing, but it's really cool to be able to share it with other people and then find out that there's some other people like you, Dan, or Patrick, or Neil, or whoever that you guys have seen this and you like it too. It's like nice. It's just this is what it's all about, guys.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
we will plan to do some more movies like this. If you guys think that's a good idea or a bad idea, let us know in the comment section down below because obviously nothing happens without you guys watching it. So if you guys don't want to watch that type of stuff, then
Or
it's
any
like, well,
suggestions?
or any
Yeah.
suggestions. So let us know in the comment section if that would be something that you guys would like to see because there's so many movies that don't get talked about and I'd like
Mm.
to start diving into some more of those types of movies. I think it'd be
Mhm.
very, very fun. So,
Yeah.
anyways, as we head on out, Blucka saying, you guys have sold me on this. I will have to watch it.
Nice.
Yes, all
Yeah.
right.
Let us know
All
how you
right.
liked it. I'm curious.
Yeah,
I want to know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You three reviewing movies is never a bad idea. So keep on keeping on. We're gonna try, man. We're gonna try. We just need to keep getting the support. That's all we need. Because without support, no YouTube channel does well. So, but anyways, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. We had a blast. Please give the video a like. That would help support us. Check out our comment section. Let us know what you think of this movie. Check out our links. We've got a lot of other things going on. We're going to be doing exclusive material and videos for our Patreon. We have Ginger Ninja's part of that. Give him some company. He's lonely. So we'll be talking to you guys soon. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Peace.
Upchurch.